As far as we look on the history, use of fecal sludge as resource in fertilizer have been used, and from the 16th or 15th centuries, the Arabs was recognizing the use of fecal sludge as fertilizer, but they was advising to store the fecal sludge for 4 years before using it. In the 16th or 18th, 17th centuries, in France, they reduced this time of storage of fecal sludge for about 3 years. Now, people are trying to reduce again this time of treatment, safe treatment of fecal sludge for safe reuse in agriculture. So we have already 4 presentators, speakers that are going to present their work on the issue. Let us start by the first, Kurashi Bangura. Kurashi Bangura is not here, but Christopher Shangara is going to present on behalf of Kurashi. He is presenting on, let us say, combination of 2 subjects: relative plan of content and partition composition of anaerobic digest, Latin, and sky blue sludge in area settlements in Zimbabwe. Effect of age and treatment of sludge on metal weeds during anaerobic digestion of agricultural sludge. Case studies sludge from area 1 areas of Zimbabwe. What I want to propose here is they have 5 minutes to present. I propose we let present 3 speakers. We have 5-minute discussion, and we let the others 2 presentations go on, and then we have 5-minute discussions, and then we have 5 last discussion minutes for raising 3 key issues to handle. Are you happy with that? Okay. So, Mr. Shangara, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes.
A brief background of the project. We are exploring anaerobic technology to treat pit Latin sludge in the aim or in the end to harness or to look at the issue of sanitation, whereby we aim to eliminate or to reduce microbial composition in the sludge to levels that we can use for soil conditioning, also food security, as I've said, by again looking at the microbial, the nutritional value of the digested sludge, so that can be applied in the land of agriculture. Also, the other issue that we have to look using this technology, or that we want to explore the issue of security, the amount of energy, especially or specifically biogas that we can produce from this filtered sludge. And lastly, we want to look at recycling of nutrients using this technology. This brings me to our objectives. The first objective is to characterize pig Latin sludge from period settlements of Zimbabwe, mainly Chinoi and Harare. Then the second objective is to assess potential of pig Latin sludge to produce biogas through anaerobic digestion. So we recover the energy in the form of biogas. So we will go there. Materials and methods. That picture at the left, near left, that box, we're supposed to show our start sites, Chinoi, and Harare. We are going to take, or we are taking our samples. The second picture is just illustrating in general pig latrine, or the latrines that we find mostly in those areas. So after sampling using an alpha, then we collect our samples. Like that picture is just showing the sludge we collected. Now we want to go into laboratory analysis. After taking the sludge, we did carry some microbial tests. Then we also went to do some physiochemical parameters. Then we also went on to do some initial stage to look at the capability of the sludge to produce methane. Those are some of the results that we have so far. In just on our left side is microbial analysis, which is just giving, just took a sample. It's giving the fecal as the urine offer on those samples. Another one, another two, another three. Those are just the samples from another samples from Chinoi, and they are giving a variability of microbial composition and also some areas they don't give urine eggs. To our far right, to my far left, there is some sample of chemical analysis where we have BOD, pH, total phosphorus, and we have the nitrogen, whereby we see some high levels of BOD from this particular slide, and also some high levels of total phosphorus, and also some high levels of nitrogen. Then that picture is just a open slides that we took during our analysis. On part of the biogas production, we also used a simple laboratory digester setup using the displacement method to measure the biogas that can be produced from a kilogram per dry mass of that period sludge. And you will see that graph, though it's still ongoing, but there is biogas that it will produce. And the test that we did was to test by compatibility to see is it burning or is not burning that gas will produce. So, in short, in conclusion, we can say the build the bits that is sludge is good. It will have the characteristics varies from one bit to another, and again from within the same bit. And also, we can say the pig Latin sludge contains relatively high levels of plant nutrients. And lastly, the pig Latin sludge has the potential to produce biogas, specifically that we did analyze. So this is our project. Yes, it is so. It's still an ongoing project, but at the moment, these are some of the things that we've found. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Santiago Septién from the Pollution Research Group in the University of KwaZulu-Natal. And I will present you the infrared drying of fecal sludge using a lab scale machine called AREPA. I want to present you in form of the slides, but you could see more information in the poster, which is there in printed form, but here I summarize the main points, the more important points of the poster. So, in our laboratory is located in Durban and Tuquini municipality. In there is 3,000 VIP latrines, which have to be emptied. So when we empty them to dispose of the fecal sludge, the municipality has set up the AREPA machine, which means that latrine dehydration pasteurization, in which the fecal sludge, as the name says, is dried and then pasteurized. The University of Guadalajara has a large-scale machine where we are trying to optimize and understand the process of the large-scale machine. And here is the diagram of the large-scale machine where the fecal sludge is first extruded, then passed through two successive medium infrared red lamps, where it is the fecal sludge is processed, and then we obtain at the end dry and pasteurized pellets. So in this machine, in this apparatus, we are going to study the speed belt, which will have an influence in the residence time. We'll also study the intensity of the medium infrared lamps, which have an influence on drying temperature. And then we also study the effect of the pellet diameter. And with the product obtained, we are going to make biological, chemical, and thermal studies of this of the product of the pellets obtained. Well, I'm going to skip all the results and discussion that we can discuss and see in our poster. So the first conclusion. The first conclusion of my results, we can be that the drying rate increases when we increase the intensity of the infrared. That means when we increase the temperature of drying, we increase the rate of the drying. But we observe that after 200 degrees, the pellets can burn. So we have to be careful to not exceed this temperature. And we also see that could be expected as we increase the pellet diameter size, we make the drying more slow. Concerning the biological test, we see that the pasteurization in all cases is achieved after 8 minutes. This pasteurization was made by studying the ascaris egg content. And for the very high temperatures, here 220 degrees Celsius, the pasteurization occurs at lower temperatures. And as a third conclusion, we see that the fecal sludge can be used as has agricultural potential because it has relative important content in phosphorus, 85 grams per kilogram of dry fecal sludge, or it also can be used as a biofuel with a calorific value which is very close to that wood. That means 19 megajoules per kilogram of dry fecal sludge. Thank you very much. This is the photo of the student has made all this work. And please, if you have, I will show you with details, and I will show you the graphs and all the small things in my poster session. Thank you.
Cool now.
As you can see, I'm from the same university as previous speaker. I'm in life sciences. He's in the pollution research group. So we have a grouping that stands with one person in life sciences and the other person in pollution research group. Our study involved looking at the helmet eggs in different on-site sanitation systems, and here you can see some of them. We've got on the left-hand side a dry, ventilated approved pituitary. On the right-hand side there's a wet one. You can see how there are separate layers in the dry one and no really distinct layers in the wet one. At the top we have a urine diversion deaerating toilet in a double vault system, and at the bottom we have a 4-flush toilet with 1 sump. We looked at all of these, including a 2-sump. Including a 2-sump 4-flush toilet, and we looked at a community pollution block which was based on the ventilated approved the one thing that all of these have in common, and it's very obvious that they all have pits, they all have to be desludged at some stage. And we heard from many speakers today that often these pits are located in places that are difficult to get to in terms of mechanical desludges. They also often have a lot of solid debris in them. So it can happen that manual emptying is the only possibility. On the top left you have a pit latrine being emptied by hand. On the top right you have a UV toilet being emptied by hand. All of that causes exposure of the pit latrine workers to a variety of infectious organisms. We look at Ascaris because Ascaris has the most resistant structure. So the common theory is if you kill the Ascaris, you kill everything else. The bottom left is an Ascaris egg. The bottom right is a picture of a gut digestive system which has been obstructed by adult Ascaris worms. It shows why the little girl in the middle has a pot belly, not because she's well fed, but because she carries a high worm load. And you've already heard how that is associated with impaired cognitive and physical development in children. So we took samples from dry PIPs, wet PIPs, UDDTs, community evolution block, and 3-4 flush toilets, plus pellets from the process you just heard about. Technically, we had about 10 grams wet mass, which was suspended in water, sieved through 2 sieves, first 100 micron sieve and 20 micron sieve. Sample was floated with zinc sulfate, and the floated eggs were washed and then examined by light microscopy for the presence and the viability of helminth eggs, the assessed viability by egg quality. So this gives you just a sample of the results that we had. You can see the data per system on our poster. This is the median values for each of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different systems plus the depth and pellets. Notice that it's a log scale on the left for log count per gram dry mass. So 1 is effectively 0. You can see the colors: blue is Ascaris, red is Trichuris, and green is Tenia. And the red line represents the WHO guideline for use of feces in agriculture, which is less than 1 helminth egg per gram total solids. And you can see that a number of those are above that. Comfortingly, the pellets are all below that line. That graph compresses the variability which we saw when we had much higher numbers in certain layers within different on-site sanitation systems, and I invite you to come have a look at those graphs on our poster. Thank you very much.
Asking if Peter is still here. Okay, Peter is not here. We have only one commentator remaining. Shall we go with her and have all the discussion after? That's it. Okay, Jenna, please. Jenna is from the University of Agricultural Science Uppsala. Please.
Hi, I'm presenting on behalf of my coworker, Dr. Cecilia Lanam. Cecilia is working on optimizing recycling systems using black soldier flies for composting. This work that I'll present today is a summary of the sanitization effect of using black soldier flies in composting. And the work was done in collaboration with Florian Galton and Dr. Bjorn Pinnefos. And we are all from the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences. To give you an introduction as to the concept of black soldier fly composting, you have an organic waste that's added into a continuous flow system, where we also add in the larvae. The larvae consume the organic waste so that the mass is actually decreased by 20 to 50%, so that you have a more concentrated nutrient outflow that can then be more easily transported, but also a more concentrated nutrient flow as fertilizers. The larvae, through this process, start to mature and turn into prepupae. These prepupae then self-harvest themselves by crawling out of the system to look for a dry place to turn into a fly. And these prepupae are collected, which can then be used as animal feed for both pigs and for chickens. The prepupae are very high in fat, so it is used as a supplement feeding for fat and protein, so that you don't need the soybean or the fish meal anymore. And then the waste from these three streams are then put back into the system. So the organic waste can come from animal manure and come from vegetation waste from the on-farm sites. And it can also use human feces. So in this case, we use human feces. And the aim of the study was to verify how the salmonella is degraded within the system. So Cecilia had already demonstrated that Salmonella typhimurium from sludge is degraded, but we wanted to verify this with 3 other strains. So we ran another test, and you can go to the next slide. So these are the results of the decay rates. So typhimurium up on the left is the indicator organism that we use in our lab to represent Salmonella, because it has these features that it doesn't degrade or inactivate very quickly. So we use it as an indicator organism. And testing against the other ones, the 2 on the right, you can see that it's comparable. So after 12 days, there is 8 log reduction in the Salmonella. And for Salmonella Dublin, on the bottom left, you can see that it inactivates quite quickly because it works well as an indicator organism. Briefly, the one with the lighter color squares are the control, where we had no black soldier flies within the system, and then the darker triangles are diamond shapes, are where we had the black soldier flies. Next slide. So the takeaway from this is that, for one, we can use Salmonella typhimurium as a good indicator for Salmonella, and also that we can use black soldier flies as a way of decreasing the risk of transferring diseases within the recycling system. Currently, we are still studying other